If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, come in. For the sidewalk ends, Shel Silverstein's world begins. Why did we choose Shel?
We love his books and poetry.
He has great books for both kids and adults.
Shel is a very fun and creative poet.
His work is both funny, sad, and makes the reader laugh and think.
As a child, we both read his work, and it also made us like poetry more because it was relatable and funny for kids.
He has a very unique writing style, and his artwork is very intriguing. Now let's learn a little bit about Shel.
Our favorite poet, Sheldon Allen Silverstein.
Born September 25th, 1930 in Chicago, Illinois.
Died May 10th, 1999, age 68 in Key West, Florida.
Sad. His occupation is author, short story writer, poet, cartoonist, songwriter, and playwright.
His genres are children's fiction, black comedy, and playwright. Shel began writing and drawing when he was 12 years old. He would rather be good at playing ball, but he wasn't. Lucky for him, he did have something going for him, writing. He went on to become a well-known author, selling over 20 million copies in 20 different languages. Shel enlisted in the Army and finished 2 years. He became a cartoonist and even became one of the leading cartoonists for Playboy. Interesting. He contributed cartoons, satire, poetry, and articles. Later in life, he was encouraged to pursue children's poetry.
He had never really looked at other poets, so he had his own unique style. The Giving Tree, which was first criticized, became one of his best-selling books to date. Aside from all the children's books, he also wrote A Boy Named Sue, Johnny Cash's song, which is pretty interesting. And he was also involved in theater. He won many awards, and Shel was a very accomplished man by the time he passed, and his book still ran on today. Shel's book, Where the Sidewalk Ends, has been banned in some schools because it's said to undermine parental school and religious authority, as if silly poems will incite children to mutiny.
Not only do Shel Silverstein's books represent the same format, he also illustrates all of his writings. All of his drawings are in black and white, and they are drawn cartoon style with exaggerations.
Some of his books include Take 10,
Uncle Shelby's ABZ book,
A Playboy's TV Geevies,
Different Dances,
An Adult Evening of Shel Silverstein,
Everything on It,
Falling Up,
A Giraffe and a Half,
The Giving Tree,
Lafatio, the Lion Who Shot Back,
A Light in the Attic,
The Missing Piece,
The Missing Pete's meets the Big O,
Runny Babbitt,
Where the Sidewalk Ends,
Who Wants a Cheap Rhinoceros,
Don't Bump the Glump. Along with Shel Silverstein's books, he also has 4 main poetry books, which include Falling Up, A Light in the Attic, Where the Sidewalk Ends, and the most recent, Everything on It. These books have a collection of poems with illustrations about everything from crocodiles with toothaches to hot dogs with everything on it, from the sword swallower to the genie in the flask. His poetry has a variety of subjects, and he writes in a way that appeals to kids and is easy for them to understand. A lot of the poetry is based off fictional characters, so it shows that it is okay to have an imagination and to make believe.
You don't have to pick up your toys, okay? You can leave them right there on the floor. So tonight, when the terrible toy-eating Tuchel comes tiptoeing in through the crack in the door, he'll crunch all your soldiers and munch on your trucks. He'll chew your poor puppets to shreds. He'll swallow your big wheel and slurp up your paints and bite off your dear Larry's heads. And then he'll wipe off his lips with the sails of your ships. And then, making a burpity noise, he'll slither away. But hey, that's okay. You don't have to pick up your toys.
Here are two of our favorite poems.
Crazy Dream. Last night I had a crazy dream that I was teaching school. My teachers had turned into kids, and I laid down the rules. I gave them 100 history books to memorize each night and made them read them on their heads without turning on the light. I sent them on a field trip to the outskirts of Mongolia and gave them an overnight assignment to grow a 20-foot purple magnolia. I asked them how many awful grades can cause how many tears, and if they got one answer wrong, I just hung them up by their ears. And when they talked or laughed in class, I pinched them till they cried, louder and louder, till I woke up feeling very satisfied.
Christmas Dog. Tonight's my first night as a watchdog, and here it is Christmas Eve. The children are sleeping all cozy upstairs while I'm guarding the stockings and tree. What's that now? Footsteps on the rooftop? Could it be a cat or a mouse? Who's this down the chimney? A thief with a beard and a big sack for robbing the house. I'm barking, I'm growling, I'm biting his butt. He howls and jumps back in his sleigh. I scare his strange horses, they leap in the air. I've frightened the whole bunch away. Now the house is all peaceful and quiet again. The stockings are safe as can be. Won't the kitties be glad when they wake up tomorrow and see how I've guarded the tree? Everything you need to know about Shel Silverstein. It is kid-friendly. It has a Just for Kids section, as well as a list of books and author information, and also has a For Teacher section that offers suggestions and lesson plans for teachers to use in the classroom.
Poetryforkids.com. This is another interesting poetry website. It is from another poet named Ken Nesbitt. On this website, kids read and rate the poems on the website. You'll see the funny poems, the newest poems, and the most popular poems. There are lessons on writing funny poems, including clurichues and exaggeration poems, and there's a simple rhyming dictionary. Also, you can register for free as a class, and the students can enter poetry contests, participate in a poetry forum, and even keep a poetry journal.
The Giving Tree. This is both a happy yet sad book about a boy's relationship with the tree. The boy loves to play on the tree, swinging from its branches and collecting its leaves. Then the boy starts to grow up, and the tree doesn't see the boy as much anymore. The boy still does come to the tree wanting different things, and the tree gives of itself. The tree gives its branches and everything until it's only a stump. Then the boy, who is now an old man, sits on the stump. And then the tree is happy. Some themes in this book would be what does it mean to be happy, what does it mean to love, giving and receiving, and the concepts of selfishness and selflessness. Some problematic elements would be that this book has been criticized for being too sad or in between age groups. This book was actually banned for being sexist. Despite these things, it did go on to be a bestseller. Children can relate to the tree as being their parents and how they give to them, and they may take them for granted. Some children who do not have parents or live in a household where things can just be given to them may not resonate with this book. Children also may not resonate knowing that a tree does not have feelings or talk. It's not very diverse, but the book is offered in different languages such as Spanish or Chinese.
A Giraffe and a Half. This book is a cumulative rhyme text. This book presents a giraffe and then stretches it to a half, which makes a giraffe and a half. As the book goes on, things are accumulated by the giraffe, such as a rat in a hat, and it keeps going on until the giraffe is piled up with things. So you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat, looking cute in his suit, with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee, and some glue on his shoe, playing toot on a flute, with a chair in his hair, and a snake eating cake, and a skunk in a trunk, and a dragon in a wagon, and a spike in his bike, and a whale on his tail, and a hole with a mole. Then all these things kind of go off him until the end where he becomes just a plain old giraffe again, like he began. The themes in this book are that it is a pattern book and it has a lot of rhyming. There are no problematic elements in this book. Students could resonate to this book by seeing the rhymes and patterns and understanding the concept of things building up that will eventually be too much. Students may not resonate with this, claiming that it is not realistic. The main character in this book is personified by a giraffe, so there is not really any human diversity portrayed in this book.
Runny Babbit. This book is a collection of poetry that Shel wrote. This book is interesting because all of the beginning letters are mixed up. For example, Runny Babbit instead of Bunny Rabbit. It makes it a little difficult to read, but it is also fun. This book forces the reader to really think about what they are reading and what the poetry means. I kind of felt like a dyslexic child reading this book. This writing technique definitely put a unique spin on things. One of the poems goes like this. The Funny Bamily. Runny fat a hamily. Matter of fact, he had a Souther and 2 Bristers, a dummy and a mad. His mama fed him merrick kilk and parrot pie and such, and all of them were happy in their cozy honey bunch. So I created a poem in honor of Shel and inspired by Runny Babbit in Runny Babbit form. I love yeeting, rest I do. I love leading, bow how you. Silverstein is the pest poet. I yet boo, didn't even know it. Geez, great at writing, war kids and adults too. I hope you hikeless books as much as woo. The themes in this book are funny poetry, mixed up letters, rabbits, and family. Problematic elements would be that it might be difficult for students to understand and read and understand what the poem is supposed to be about. Children can resonate to this book because it can give a glimpse into how a child with dyslexia or a reading disability sees words. The child really has to comprehend what the words really mean to understand the poem. A child could not resonate with this book if it is too difficult for the child to rearrange the letters in order to understand the poetry. This book is diverse because it shows how students with reading disabilities see words, and it presents literacy in a whole new way.
The Missing Piece. The Missing Piece is about a Pac-Man-looking piece that goes throughout the book looking for its missing piece to make it whole. It has a fun song in it that the piece sings throughout it as it rolls along. It goes like this.
Oh, I'm looking for my missing piece. I'm looking for my missing piece. Howdy-ho, here I go, looking for my missing piece. Oh, I'm looking for my missing piece. Overland and overseas, so grease my knees and fleece my bees. I'm looking for my missing piece.
Along its journey, it finds pieces that just don't seem to fit right until it finds the perfect piece. But then it just keeps rolling and can't sing. Maybe it doesn't need that piece after all. This book looks like a children's book, but could actually be more of an adult book as well. The themes that we find in this book were happiness, fulfillment, feeling whole, acceptance, and self. After reading this book, it didn't seem apparent that there were any problematic elements. However, independence could be greatly influenced by this book. Children can resonate to this book because they can relate to a missing piece they felt in their life. Children might not be able to resonate because young students may not get the deep understanding of it because even though it looks like a children's book and it is easy to read, the themes are more for adults. The diversity of this book is the piece is not given a specific race, so it could be related to any race and anyone could relate it to his or her own life.
Shel is an awesome poet. With his unique style of poetry, he has touched the hearts of both children and adults. Aww! His work is unique, which draws children to him. He is so creative in ways you don't normally see. His books make you feel multiple different emotions. Sometimes they are silly, or sad, or fun. His work is a great example of an introduction for students to poetry. In the classroom, all of his books could be used as examples of all kinds of poetry. It can show that poetry comes in all types of forms, and it shows literacy elements such as alliterations, metaphors, similes, rhyming, and much more. It also proves that you can make a poem about anything. The end of the book, no use to look for any more, my dear. 'Cause if you try finding some more in the binding, you may just disappear.
Bye-bye.